Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you all the things I wish that I knew about pregnancy before I got knocked up. But before we get to the video, I'm going to need you guys to click on the subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss another video, and to click on the little bell to make sure that you're the first to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to all the things that I wish I knew about pregnancy before I was pregnant. Alright y'all, so pregnancy is not for the weak. To all of my friends that have been pregnant and that have had babies, why didn't anybody tell me about any of this? Y'all needed to talk to me before I went through it. Alright guys, let's get into it. One of the things that I wish that I knew about pregnancy before I got pregnant was how much physical change I was going to experience. Let's start off with my favorite, vomiting and nausea. Morning sickness doesn't even begin to cover it. It's more like eating sickness, not eating sickness, horrible smells sickness, motion sickness, everything sickness, all day sickness. I was vomiting in my pregnancy from the beginning all the way to about 25 weeks. And I mean multiple times a day, horrendously sick, like could puke anywhere and everywhere. And then after that, I was probably vomiting about once or twice a week at that point up until the end of my pregnancy. So vomiting was a ever-present thing during my pregnancy. And then the nausea, I feel like nausea was even worse than vomiting, because at least with vomiting, you have some sort of release once you've puked everything out. But with nausea, it just like stays with you all the time, and it just never, ever, ever went away. So to all the people who never experienced any of this, I hate you so much. It literally just consumed everything. I used to get nauseous commuting. Motion sickness was one of the things I never knew I would get during pregnancy. You hear morning sickness, but motion sickness, like every time I was in a car, every time I was on a bus, every time I was on the train, I used to be so nauseous, and I even had to get off of certain stations, find a garbage, and literally puke in it. Oh, and I used to puke so hard sometimes I would pee myself. Like, why? So vomiting and nausea was definitely one of those things that I did not know was going to literally take up my whole life when I was pregnant. Speaking of peeing when you vomit, bladder issues is definitely another one of those things that I wish I knew about pregnancy. You literally do not have any bladder control. You laugh, you pee. You cry, you pee. You sneeze, you pee. You pee all the time. I had the worst bladder control ever. I used to have to bring extra pair of pants because I would leak through my underwears and my pants. Zero bladder control. It was freaking awful. Usually it's normal for people to actually gain weight during pregnancy because you're eating for two or you're eating more calories. For me, it was actually the opposite. I was actually losing weight because I couldn't keep food down and I was puking everything I was eating. So I actually didn't really start to look pregnant until maybe halfway through my pregnancy because I had lost weight the first half because of my vomiting issues. Another thing that I didn't know about pregnancy that I wish I did before I got pregnant, hip pains. Oh my God, I never knew that it was possible to have so much pelvic area pain in my life. The pregnancy wobble that you often see women have during their pregnancy, I started that very early on because my hips were literally on fire. Everything that I did would make it worse. Sitting down too long, standing up too long, laying in bed on one side would make it worse, laying in bed on the other side would make it worse, sleeping on my back would make it worse. It literally just completely took me by surprise on how much pain I could be in my pelvis area. I would highly recommend you seeing a physiotherapist or a chiropractor that specializes in the pelvic floor, stretches and exercises to really help alleviate some of that pain if ever you do have pains like that. My sciatic nerves as well were on fire. I literally felt like somebody was pulling my hamstrings until it could snap. I was in so much pain. But there are really good yoga exercises to help stretch out your hamstring and alleviate the pains of sciatic nerve because they are real. One of the positive things from pregnancy that I actually didn't even know about was how much my skin glowed the whole time of my pregnancy. I didn't realize how much my skin would improve during pregnancy. I barely had any outbreaks. I didn't have any pimple. My face wasn't discolored or anything. At first, I did have very dark circles under my eyes, and I had a lot of pigmentations on my neck and on my stomach. But other than that, my skin was the healthiest that it's been in a very long time. Some say that it's pregnancy glow. I call it pregnancy sweat because I actually used to freaking sweat a whole lot as well. But I don't know, maybe the extra sweat and the extra oils in my skin kind of cleared up everything. It was pretty awesome having fantastic skin throughout my pregnancy. Swelling is another thing. I started swelling a lot on my hands and my feet at the end of my pregnancy because you're retaining so much water. At some point, I had the hardest time taking off my wedding ring and other rings that I had on my hands, and my feet were so swollen. My God, it was like my ankle and my foot became one. That's how much water I was retaining on my feet, and that really happened more towards the end of my pregnancy. I literally want to say the last 3 weeks of my pregnancy. My shoes did not fit at all. I wore Crocs courtesy of my best friend who obviously when she had a baby she used to wear Crocs all the time, and she gifted me some too. The most comfortable pair of things I've ever owned in my life. I wore Crocs all the freaking time, whether it was casual, whether it was fancy, Crocs all the way. Exhaustion. Oh my God, I was exhausted all the time. I literally could sleep anywhere through anything. I could have slept through a tornado. That's how exhausted I was. I would sleep all the time. When I got home, I slept. After supper, I slept, and then I slept some more. During the weekends, I literally could spend 2 days in my bed just sleeping and getting up to pee and maybe drink water once, maybe twice. But sleeping is all I did. It was infuriating. I slept on the bus. I used to miss my exit all the time because I was sleeping on the bus or sleeping on the train, and I used to just pass out, like literally black out. I've never been in my life so tired, but you know, your body is getting ready to create life and it's using all the energy that it can to do that. So you are definitely going to feel some exhaustion when you are pregnant, and that's one thing I really wish that I knew. So when I was pregnant, I actually regretted not investing in a pregnancy pillow. I'm sure that that would have definitely helped with my sciatic pain and my pelvic pains as well. For some reason, I just thought that I would just bear through the pain. If you can, there are different types of pregnancy pillows out there. Do your research, definitely get one. Another thing that I wish that I knew about pregnancy before I got pregnant was how much it was going to take a toll on my mental health. Honestly, I didn't know how much hormones would play a role on your mental health. Oh, these hormones. They really do have an effect on your mental health. You could be the happiest person in the world, and then the next second you're crying over a cat's adoption commercial. And then on top of that, we had the COVID-19 pandemic, which definitely affected me and my mental health as well. Being pregnant is already so mentally challenging, and then to add a pandemic on top of that definitely did not help. I'm actually going to link a video for my pandemic pregnancy somewhere on the screen over here so that you can check out how I was affected by COVID-19 and how it actually affected my pregnancy and affected my mental health. I was super emotional during my pregnancy. I used to cry all the time. Insane. Don't be alarmed if you feel like your emotions are a roller coaster, because that's totally normal. With the amount of hormones that are pumping through your bodies to make this human being, it is totally normal for you to be out of whack. Another thing that I wish that I knew about pregnancy before I got pregnant was actually the fact that there is a variety of birth plans available to you. It actually really surprised me. I decided to go through the midwife route, and I absolutely loved it. My midwife was absolutely the best person ever to help me deliver my baby. My husband and I really trusted Melanie. We loved the whole experience. We'd definitely do it again if we decide to have other kids. But again, there are definitely other options out there for you to be able to consider when it comes to your pregnancy. So you could actually be followed by an obstetrician, a midwife, a doula, or your family physician for the care of your pregnancy. Also, location is another thing that you have a lot of options to. There are many different places that you can actually give birth. You can give birth at home, you can give birth at a hospital, or you can even give birth at birthing centers. I decided to give birth at a hospital because for my first baby, I was super anxious and I wanted to make sure that I was actually in the hospital in case anything went wrong. So I was able to have my midwife give me care at a hospital, which was fantastic. You could also do some research on different types of birth that you want. There's lotus birth, where you actually keep the umbilical cord attached to the baby and the placenta until it falls off on its own. There's delayed clamping, where the umbilical cord is left on the baby for an hour or two before it's actually clipped off. And there's hypnobirthing, which is a birthing method used with hypnosis and relaxation to literally prepare your mind, body, and soul for the birth of your baby. So there's so many options and ways for you to have your baby, and I wasn't really aware of all of the options that were out there, so that was a pleasant surprise. And of course, there is medicated and unmedicated. I definitely went for a medicated route because, my God, I wouldn't be able to go through it without epidural. For the women that are able to do it without any medication, you guys are freaking superheroes. Actually, all moms are superheroes. I will never, ever, ever, ever stop singing the praises of the community of mommies and mommies to be, because they've literally supported me so much throughout my pregnancy by giving me advice, encouraging me in my birth choices. I literally have met some of the sweetest, some of the nicest people ever through these communities. I wish I would have learned about them a lot sooner in my pregnancy, but I'm so glad that I found the group of women that I found. Another thing that I wish I knew about pregnancy before I got pregnant was how much I had to advocate for myself. The amounts of unsolicited advice, the disagreements that I've had about my birth plan, and comments people have made about my body is absolutely disheartening. People would make comments about my boobs, people would make comments about my ability to exercise or not exercise, people will make comments about my birth plan, people will make literally comments about anything. And I don't know where people get the energy to speak to pregnant women the way that they do, but it's definitely okay to speak up for yourself and to defend your choices. Nobody is going to go through birth but you. So you get to have the birth that you want as long as you discuss it with your healthcare provider. It's absolutely okay to say yes, and it's absolutely okay to say no. Stand up for yourself. And don't forget to be kind to yourself too. Everybody is different. Please do not compare yourself to other pregnant women because you don't know their situation. You don't know what it took for them to be pregnant. Please make sure that you focus on your health and your baby's health, and everything else really does not matter. I was actually thinking of doing a video on my pregnancy and birth journey, but let me know in the comments below whether you like shorter videos so that it's more digestible, kind of like a series, or like a long, like binge-worthy video. Comment below, I would love to hear it. And let me know as well all the things you guys wish you knew about pregnancy before y'all got knocked up, because I'm sure that there's a lot of things that you guys figured out and experienced that shocked out of you. So I want to hear about it down below. Please comment. Baby registries. That's another thing that I wish I knew about pregnancy before I got pregnant. I didn't realize how much people were willing to spend money on you. So don't be afraid to put gifts and anything that you want at any price range. You would be surprised at how much people are willing to spend on you. So don't be afraid to splurge. And also, I used to love receiving money and gift cards. So don't be afraid to let people know that, like, hey, you could just give me money. Baby kicks. I used to have a love-hate relationship with baby kicks. Every time my baby used to kick me in the ribs, I wanted to die. But when my baby didn't kick, I was super scared. So I used to drink a lot of cold water to wake up the baby to make sure that they were moving. Every time I would stay still and then I wouldn't feel them kicking, my heart would literally sink to the floor. So getting up and moving a little bit or drinking cold water really does wake them up. But then he used to kick me in the ribs, so love-hate relationship. Braxton hicks. Braxton hicks are not practice contractions. Contractions are awful. Braxton hicks are manageable. I don't know who lied to us, but they're nothing alike. Your cervix. Depending on who's following you throughout your pregnancy, they may check your cervix multiple times during your pregnancy. I was fortunate enough to just get checked at the end, so whenever I did though, it was quite the surprise. I don't know, it didn't really hurt. It was just a lot of pressure. That's another thing I wish I knew about pregnancy, was checking the cervix is really uncomfortable, so brace yourself, ladies. Another thing that I didn't know about pregnancy before I got pregnant was how vivid your dreams are actually going to be. They're gonna feel freaking real, but they're not. They're just dreams. I remember dreaming about my husband leaving the house, and I was frantically looking for him, and then when I woke up, I was pissed at him, even though he was laying right next to me. They're not real, they're just dreams, but they're gonna feel like it's real, so watch out for those as well. And last but not least, the best thing that I found out about pregnancy was the amount of love I was going to have for my baby. Honestly, the first time I found out I was pregnant, I was already hooked. I was already so in love. I didn't think I could love anything more. I didn't realize how much love I actually had for him and for my husband. It's literally the most beautiful thing in the world, and I've never ever been happier. So definitely embrace the love. It's absolutely amazing. Alright guys, so this is it for the list of things that I wish I knew about pregnancy before I got pregnant. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys follow me on my social and to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you never ever miss out on a new upload. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.